Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Talk Business. I'm Jean Babel and today we are at 1232 Washington Street, the home of Sam's Appliances, TV and Furniture. And today we're going to have a great show. Most of you know Sam's and they've been around for a long time, and we're going to talk a lot about the history and then the current store, which has so much to offer. And we're meeting today with Ed Anzlova. Did I get it right, Ed?
Close to Anzlovar.
Anzlovar, and that is a Slovenian
Yes.
Name. And
there's a little love in all of us.
And Ed is the owner, the current owner of Sam's. And so we're going to talk a little bit. Ed has some great pictures of when the former owner, who was Sam, had the business way back in 1933, and a really historic business here in town. Probably one of the oldest currently run consistently run business here.
I'm not sure, but I think about the only place I can think of that could be an older business than us in Norwood would probably be Abdella's. They may have been here before us, and I'm not even sure of that. But Sam started in 1933, and I really can't think of any other store around in town that's older than that.
Yeah. So Ed wasn't here in 1933, just so that you know, but he has a lot of information about the history. So we're going to start with just tell us about the early days and where the store was located, who was Sam, and how did the business get going and continue its success till today in 2015.
Well, from what I know, Sam came from Worcester as a young man, and he started a store up on Washington Street. And it was in probably a 1,000 square foot location. And he was mostly selling automobile parts.
Automobile, wow.
Yeah. And then from there, I'm not sure exactly when, he moved over to Cottage Street, right facing the Common, and he opened a store that was one of the original department stores. Sam had he had appliances, he had auto parts, he sold tires.
A little bit of everything?
Because back then all the appliances were kind of made by automobile manufacturers.
Oh, okay.
And Sam started that, but then he had this pretty big store, and he had different concessions in there. He had Orton's Sporting Goods, had a concession. They eventually opened Orton's over on Central Street. I don't even know if they're still there. He had another concession of a guy selling pots and pans. And then Sam pretty much over in that location was selling furniture, appliances, and televisions.
See, that would be a good concept for some of the big buildings that we have downtown now, to have like the and then if they're successful, they spin off from having a small space to a
I mean, it might work that way because somebody can't afford to pay a $6,000 or $7,000 rent for a space uptown. Maybe they can afford to pay $1,000, and you get 5 of them together, and with the different things, they're drawing different people in.
Yeah, and it's a good way to see if it actually works or not.
It's kind of the philosophy that we have here, in that we sell appliances, we sell a few TVs, we sell furniture, because it's difficult to get a customer to come to your store, and when you do get a customer to come to your store, you want them to come back. And if we sell them an appliance only, we may never see them again for 10 years. Whereas we do have a lot of people that come in here, and one year they're buying a refrigerator, the next year they're buying a mattress, the next year they're buying a recliner, the next year they may need a living room set. And they tend to come back, and they tend to bring their family and other members of the family and friends, and that's how the whole thing works.
So you took over the business in the 70s, 1978, or was that your father? Because your father also worked for Sam too, right?
Yes. Well, Sam moved the business from Cottage Street over to Central Street. So we used to have a store in the back behind the parking lot behind Klein's.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Which
where
some of you will remember. It's not there anymore.
Right.
But
And my father used to repair washing machines. So he had his own business out of Sam's called County Appliance. And he basically made his whole life's work of fixing wash machines and dryers. That's all he fixed. He didn't do the other appliances. We had other people at the store to do that, but my father did washers and dryers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in 1974, I got out of college, and there was a recession going on, and I was going out applying here, there, and everywhere for a job.
I remember that.
I couldn't find a job anywhere. So my father said, well, they need someone to drive the pickup truck down to Sam's, going into Boston, picking up things, running errands, part-time. Why don't you do that while you're looking? So I came down and applied, and Sam hired me, and I figured I was going to be here for a couple of months. And now, what's it, over 40 years, or around 40 years later, I'm still here, still looking for my real job.
So you must love it then. For 40 years.
It's become a lifestyle. I say I spent more time here than any place else, even home.
So you and your dad actually worked at the same time for Sam?
Right. I came into the store, like I said, I was driving the pickup truck. Back then there was still a lot of businesses in Boston. So we'd go into Boston, we'd repair a vacuum cleaner for somebody, and there was a vacuum cleaner store over on Beacon Street that we'd go to. Or we'd pick up furniture over in Cambridge. A lot of the manufacturers, not the manufacturers, the distributors would be in there. Maytag used to be over in Cambridge. And we used to pick up mattresses from a place in East Boston. But all these places are gone now. And
because they were all made, most of the products were made in the United States back then, I would assume.
Back then, everything I think that we were selling was made in USA.
Yeah.
All the furniture, the TVs, and appliances were all made in USA. Yeah.
You wouldn't probably remember the first TV that was ever sold at Sam's, would you? No, you're too young, so it would have been your dad or...
I do not. I can tell you there used to be a man, his name was Al Kraus, and he was, to my knowledge, the first in the area TV repairman. And he was from Norwood, but he worked out of Sam's, and we actually have a picture over there of the old store on Cottage Street, and you can see all the old cars lined up, and the people are looking in the window, and what they're looking at is they're watching TV.
For the first time.
Televisions had just come out,
Yeah.
and it was, I'm sure, a phenomenon to people to see a television. Those was just coming out of the era radio.
You just reminded me of the TV repairman. Now I totally forgot that's what, you had your 3 stations, and if something went wrong, which it always seemed to, the tube or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You'd have to call the
tubes.
TV repairman to come in.
Right, and he would come in with a big box full of tubes, and he would change a particular tube, and your TV's set, you're okay.
That was a full-time job
for
someone back in that totally changed. Yeah.
And I know my family, we got our first color TV back in, it was either the late 60s or the early 70s. My brother, my sister, and I chipped in, and we bought a 19-inch color TV from Sam for my parents for their 25th wedding anniversary. And that was the first time we had a color TV. Other than that, we were watching a black and white. And those were the days where you laid on the couch and you watched the same channel all night.
Because you didn't have a remote.
Otherwise, you had to get up and turn the channel. So.
That's a riot.
Yeah.
That's funny. So you have some old pictures over there that we're going to just, can we talk about those? Just
Sure.
That goes back to the beginning days too.
Sure.
And the 3 photos that you have, if you could just tell us a little bit about each one of those.
And you can see people lined up in front of the window. They're watching television. You can see RCA Victor and Admiral. Those were probably Motorola. Those were the big names in television back then.
So how much was the color TV that you kids bought for your dad?
I can't remember that, but I'm looking here now. This picture is probably taken in the 1950s,
Oh, okay.
maybe earlier, and there's an Admiral television on sale in there for $2.99. So when you think about that,
That's a lot for
back
those.
then,
Yeah.
a guy was probably making $50 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So to buy a television for $299 would be quite an expense.
Yeah, you'd have to
You
be.
probably have to mortgage. I mean, you could. My parents bought their first house for $9,000.
Yeah,
so.
oh yeah, yeah. No, that was a big investment, even when you compare it to today. So, and this is now Sam, right?
That's Sam. I'm not sure where this picture was taken, and nobody knows who the little boy is or the lady in the picture. But this picture has to be 70 years old because
It looks like
Sam's a pretty young man in that picture,
Yeah.
and today he would be probably 105, I
Wow.
would guess, if he was still alive. So
The little boy's in a barrel. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
see
I
that. He's picking out. It looks
they
like
must
a
have had a
raffle
raffle,
ticket.
and he must
Yeah.
have pulled out the raffle ticket. So
Very cute. And Sam with his pencil in his ear.
yeah.
And oh, this is an interesting one here.
Well, this is a picture. They used to have a warehouse up near the tannery. What's it off of Endicott Street? And this is a railroad car. They're unloading a railroad car full of Admiral refrigerators. And you can see the refrigerators come in a big crate. And it's actually my father up there in the picture. This was 1954, so I was 2 years old when this was going on. This is the original Sam. These two guys used to drive a bus. Tim Hanscom, his wife Chris, used to be up at Liggett's behind the counter there running the lunch counter. It was a great time back in the 70s. I'm sure a lot of people remember and miss that, going up there at lunchtime. And this is the original Sam, and this is a couple from up on Mountain Ave, the Hayeses. I'm not sure if they're still alive. I think Jimmy might have passed away, and I think Mrs. Hayes might still be alive. But
And so they're at the actual. This is a train, a freighter train.
they're
right?
actually unloading a train car. These
Yeah.
appliances must have come in from somewhere on a train car.
Mhm.
And looks like Sam bought a carload, because that's
Oh,
what,
yeah.
that's
They'll
what the
have
sale says.
Up
so.
to 50% off. Wow. Those are great. So a lot's changed since then.
Yeah, well, like I said, when I started working for Sam, what happened is that I was driving the pickup truck, and then they brought me in to show me a little bit about how to sell appliances and do this and that. And the business was going down. He had another guy running the business for him who, he really didn't like people. You know, and if you're in this business and you don't like people,
It's not going to work.
but he really didn't like people, you know. So people would come in the door, and if he liked you, he took care of you. If he didn't, the heck with you. And Sam
You could
was
survive
yeah,
probably in those
but
days.
Sam was semi-retired, and so he would come in 2 days a week, and he had me and two guys working in the store. Well, the store got to the point that he ended up having the furniture be a concession. Some other guy owned the furniture. Well, the other two guys left on him. The concession left. So basically,
So
what Sam...
the furniture, excuse me, was here on like consignment, so we didn't have to pay for
But
it.
it was all gone. They took it, so in the store that we were in, half the store was swept clean. And he had appliances that were on the floor. And back then, when you bought your appliances, it was called floor planning. So you didn't really own your appliances. You brought your appliances in, the finance company owned them, and you sold them, or paid for them as you sold them.
Oh.
And you'd buy things, and they would give you 3 months to sell it. And if you didn't sell it in 3 months, now you either had to pay for it or pay interest. So it was really turn your inventory.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm trying to get at is this was probably 1976 or 7. Sam was going to shut the store down and just close it, because he could have called the finance company and said, come and get your, he probably had 25 appliances on the floor, and he would have had nothing. He could have just
walked
let
away.
me go and walked away, because
Yeah.
he was a tenant at will. He used to rent from Cummings Dress Shop.
Oh, yes.
I think the rent was $600 a month, heated.
Wow. That was downtown, right?
Yeah. It was in the basement
How
of
much a
Cummings.
month?
600.
Wow.
And I said, Sam, I went to school for business. I understand this business. I think I can run this business. I said, I've got a friend. He works in a retail place up in Walpole. There used to be a place up there called As It Is Warehouse. I said, I can get him to come here and work with me. I think we can run this business. Well, he said, okay, I'll give you a shot. Well, I came in, and back then you used to have the Walpole Times, and you had the Daily Transcript. Well, every week I'm pasting up pictures that I had from these appliance companies and making an ad, and we're running an ad in the paper, and people started coming in a little bit more and more, and you know, people come in, you have to treat them right. You know, that's just the way you have to be. You have to like people. They come in the door, you treat them right.
You get to know them.
When do you want it? You deliver it when they want it.
Right.
You know, you make friends with people. That's how Sam used to do it. You become more of a friend of the person than just a customer. And I think word of mouth started going around. Hey, Sam's, go down to that place. Sam's, you know, they're doing pretty good. They treat you right, whatever. And it just kept building and building and building. Well, what was happening? Sam was semi-retired. He'd come in 2 days a week to give me and the other guy, Bob, a day off. And he'd come in and kind of mess us up. He'd make a promise to somebody that we couldn't keep. Or, anyways, it finally got to the point where I said, Sam, we're in here doing all the work. You're owning the place. You're kind of messing us up. I said, I want to be a partner. He said, well, I'll tell you what. At the end of the year, the business is yours. And I'm like, whoa. All right,
Gulp.
I'll take it. Well, the end of the year came. I had my life savings I gave him, which wasn't a whole lot of money. And then he let me pay him $100 a week for the next, I think, I don't know how many years, a couple of years, just $100 a week. I think it was for 2.5 years, and I owned the business.
Wow.
And when I took the business over, like I said, things were financed. The appliances, the furniture we owned. So I basically had to pay Sam for all the furniture that we owned. The appliances were all financed. Well, we never told the finance company that I was a new owner because I had no money.
Yeah, right.
If I had called up the finance company and said I'm the new owner, they would have shut me off and we would have been done.
Oh, the deal wouldn't have got
Right, we had like a
transferred over.
$100,000 line of credit with a couple of finance companies so we could bring in all these appliances. And so what I did is I started a corporation. Sam's corporation was called Sam Hurst Incorporated, and we became Sam Hurst Sales. And by the time the finance companies caught on that I was a new owner, I'd already been doing business with them for about 2 or 3 years.
So you were into it. By then you could...
And they said, well, this guy's good. He pays
Yeah,
his
he
bills.
pays
He's
his
all right.
bills.
His credit's
Leave him
good, you
alone.
know. We'll leave him alone. But basically, I had nothing. You know,
Were
I mean,
you,
when I took over in January of '79, if I had had a bad couple of months, I was done.
Yeah.
But
So do you feel that this was a huge... Did you know that this was a big risk you were taking? Or did you just feel like,
well, like I
can
said,
do
I
this?
managed it for him for
So you knew what
2.5
you were getting into.
years.
Yeah.
And I saw that, yeah, this is a pretty good business. I can do pretty good here if I take it over. You know, so it wasn't like I took it over thinking I'm
Right.
done.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
I took it, but like I said, the slowest time of year probably for this business is January, February. People aren't coming out and buying something in January and February
they're
unless
all
they
feeling
have to.
broke.
Right, they're paying their taxes, they're paying their insurance, they're paying their heat and what have you. But it worked out.
And when was that? Was what, in the 70s?
That
or?
was 1979 and I took it
Okay.
over.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then did you have your other family members work here with you, or?
At that time, my father was still fixing washers and dryers, so he was working out of the store. Like I said, I hired a friend of mine from Walpole. Bob Farrell is his name, and he worked for me in the store. And we used to have deliveries done by Norwood Retail Delivery, which was Jerry Miller.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Jerry Miller from the
Oh,
Civic
yeah.
Center. Well, he had
Yeah.
a delivery company called Norwood Retail Delivery. And twice a week they would come in, and maybe 3 times a week even sometimes. But they'd come in and pick up the stuff and go deliver it, and then Jerry'd come in with a sheet of paper saying, okay, I want this much for this delivery, and we'd quibble back and forth about how much I could give him. And then I hired another friend of mine to do kind of the pickup job that I used to do. And he says to me, you know, we can do these deliveries. So I kind of said, you know, Jerry, I'm sorry to do this, and I think Jerry was on his way. He was doing deliveries now for Sears and a few of these other bigger places, so we were almost like a smaller thing for him. Well, anyways, we started doing our own deliveries, so it worked out good, because that way there you could give people more personalized service, too.
Right,
You know, you could deliver to a person the next day, or if you had to, in an hour. You know, and then if the guy, it would invariably, something wasn't right, you'd have to take it back. So instead of paying 2 deliveries, you just have your people working for you, and you're doing whatever you have to do every day to make it work right.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a lot of great information. It's like going back down memory lane. And
well, back then, let me just explain. We used to, back then, pick up our appliances from distributors. We used to pick them up from a place over in Westwood that was called Eastco, and they sold Whirlpool and RCA. And then we used to pick up a lot of appliances from a place in Providence called Choquette, and they sold what was called Gibson appliances and Philco TVs. So those were our 2 main sources of product back then. And
I remember Philco.
that went along for a long, long time. Then one day, a guy bought the building from Cummings. And when they bought the building from Cummings, instead of paying I think it might have been up to $800 or $900 a month now in rent, this guy comes in and he wants $5,000 a month. Well, I had nowhere to go. I signed on with this guy for 5 years. Well, at the end of 5 years, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This is crazy. I'm working for the landlord. He's making more money than I am, and I'm working like a dog here. Well, one day, I lived in Walpole. I still live in Walpole. I used to drive up 1A to go home all the time. Well, one day, for some reason, I decided to drive through South Norwood. And I came by this building that we're in here now used to be called DeRomer Electric. And there was a little sign on the side of this building that said, for sale. And I looked and I said, wow, that looks like it could be a good spot to sell appliances. Well, some people were saying to me, yeah, but if you move to South Norwood, no one's going to know where you went. South Norwood, they used to say, it's a rough neighborhood down there.
And it turned out to be the best place for you.
Well, I went out and I bought the building. I came in here. This place was all petitions and different things, and I basically came in here all by myself for about a week or 2. At night I'd be in, because I'm running the other store uptown. I bought this building the 1st of December, so I had the month of December. And I mean, I'm cutting wires that I don't know if I'm going to get electrocuted or what. Anyways, I got it all cleared out, and on January 1st of 1990, either 90 or 91, we opened up the Sam's Appliance new home, and we've been here now ever since, and it was the best thing I ever did, was to buy my own building instead of pay rent uptown. So.
Yeah, that's great. What a story.
And we've never had any problems. South Norwood is not a rough neighborhood. South Norwood is a nice neighborhood. It really is.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very happy down here. People followed us down. I figured this is a destination store. You know, people don't walk by and happen to come in and buy an appliance.
They think about it first. Yeah,
they get in their car and say, well, I'm going out today and buying an appliance. Where am I going to go? And we hope they come here.
Yeah. And you've got parking, usually plenty of parking here.
Parking, there's always plenty of parking out front on the street. We do not have our own parking lot. I wish I did, but it doesn't seem to be a problem. There's very rarely is there not a parking space right out front for someone to park, and you don't have to go up any steps or anything to get in. It just walk right in, so I guess we're handicap accessible. And
so we're up to like 1990 now, and so we'll take a little break, And stay tuned in, and we'll talk about the current Sam's and the products and all about the new Sam's. Well, welcome back. Today we are at Sam's Appliances, and we talked a lot about the history of this business, and now we're going to talk about how the business really changed. It was a whole new way of doing business in the appliance industry, and so Ed's going to talk to us about that change and how they implemented it here at Sam's.
Okay, well, what happened is we used to deal with the distributors. I said Eastco and Choquette. Well, all of a sudden, the manufacturers decided they didn't need that middleman anymore, so the distributors went away.
And that happened to so many industries, because a lot of people would go into Boston, pick up their goods, and then come back. But to get more efficient, they had to, not have as many.
They cut out the middleman.
Right.
So, and they didn't miss a beat. It was like we went over, we used to pick up almost every day at this place, Eastco in Westwood, and we went over one day to pick up, and they were closed.
Oh,
they said,
lots of notice.
They said, go up to South Walpole and pick up your Whirlpool stuff. So what Whirlpool did is there's a warehouse up on Route 1 in the industrial park up there. And Whirlpool just started sending trailer trucks from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, from their distribution center every day. They'd send whatever you'd order, they'd ship it the next day, and it would be there, and we'd go pick it up in South Walpole. And then what happened is, instead of dealing directly with the factory, now we joined a buying group. It was called Brand Source. And Brand Source was a national organization that I thought it was a big deal that I got in. I remember I had to drive to Albany, New York, and go to a meeting with a bunch of these guys sitting around a table. They were all guys basically in the appliance business, just like me.
Yeah.
And they voted me in. They said, yeah, we'll take this guy in, because they needed my business, too, to help the volume with how much they were doing. Well, the way we would buy with the Brand Source is they would have some offers where we would buy a truckload of, say, one wash machine model. Because back then we used to sell an awful lot of Whirlpool wash machines, and there was just this one top-load wash machine that everybody would buy. And so we would buy 100 of them at a time to get an unbelievable price on them, and so we would sell that there. And then other things, you were getting a better deal because you were in the buying group, but we were still picking them up one or two at a time, as you sold them up in South Walpole. Well, what happened is people eventually started coming in the store looking for appliances, but they didn't just want this one Whirlpool appliance. They would come in and say, well, I want to get a GE refrigerator, and I want to get a Whirlpool dishwasher, and I want to get a Frigidaire wash machine. I'm pulling my hair out saying, how am I going to go round up all this stuff? Well, what happened is I got out of the group Brand Source, and I joined another buying group called Nationwide. And they were out of Connecticut. Well, in that warehouse, we had a warehouse in Connecticut, and in that warehouse was everything. Everything that you could want in appliances. GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire.
So it was
Any
kind of
brand.
like a distributor at that now.
Right,
versus,
but we owned it.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I see, yeah.
as you're a member, you're an owner.
Okay.
So it's a not-for-profit. So the distributor really is a distributor, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're bringing in all these products, warehousing them, and then we're taking them out of there. But
You could buy the varied
we're
brands.
paying a staff to work at the warehouse, but they're not making a profit. Any profit that gets made comes back to the
I
members.
see, yeah.
And that was out of Connecticut, and those things were, appliances would show up here twice a week. Everything we'd order, the truck would show up. There was always a problem backing a big trailer truck in out in front of the building here. And but it worked pretty darn good.
And then they must have given you so much time to pay for this.
Well, no, when you join that group, you paid for everything. You have to give them the money up front.
Oh, you do.
So they're
yeah.
holding my money, and as I buy stuff, that comes off of my money that they're holding.
Right.
And
Yeah, so you're paying the interest.
right.
or
So I
whatever.
own the stuff. I own everything in the building now.
Oh, okay. Do you think that's a much better way for you to do business?
Well, it is now, because I'm established and I've been here a long time. If it was like that, I would have had to go to all sorts of banks and borrow money and whatever.
So for
because
somebody opening up today, they would face that situation.
they'd have to have some money of their own or through a bank. And I tell you, I think it'd be real hard to open a store again like this today, because it would be hard to get people to come to you.
Yeah. Now, all of this was happening, you know, around the time that all these big box stores were opening too, right?
Right.
And,
Right.
And so that probably was one of the reasons why the manufacturers changed the way they were doing business, because they knew it was some of their big customers, like the Home Depot, nationally big, you know.
Well, the big places, I'm sure they have their own big, huge warehouses or distribution centers that they feed their stores from, okay? But with us, that's what you have to do in order to stay competitive. You have to be a member of a group so that you have the massive buying power, so that the manufacturers give you deals, and they really do. I mean, like, we have well, actually what happened too, I'll explain this to you. The group I was in nationwide, to become more profitable, we merged with the group that's in Franklin. It used to be called the Key Group, but now it's called the New England Group. Because what happened is the two groups' leaders saw that the trailer trucks were going by each other, going at stores, and they had, you know, this guy from Connecticut's here, and this guy getting delivery from Franklin's here.
Yeah.
They said, why don't we merge? So now it's all come full circle, and it's a great thing for me. We closed the warehouse in Connecticut, and now we've merged with the New England Group now up in Franklin.
So it's much closer.
Much closer, so now instead of
even
even
pick
have to
up-
wait for a trailer truck,
Yeah.
I go pick up my own stuff.
And yeah, right. And
It's
so you
all-
don't have to pick up the huge volume that you had to do before.
No, and we never. I mean, we didn't have to do that with the Nationwide. You know, you just bought what you had sold. But when it was with Nationwide, if you ordered something and made a mistake, now you had to pay to ship it back.
Yeah,
Or
right.
if somebody came in and needed something, they had to wait 2 or 3 days sometimes to get it, because the truck just came and won't be back again.
Right.
Well, now being a member of the group up in Franklin, it's
Much
probably a
easier.
half-hour drive.
Yeah.
If a person comes in here and it's an emergency, I'll jump in the truck and go pick it up and come right back with it. So I mean, it's just a great thing. And there's every appliance you can imagine under the sun in there.
Right.
And
So you have I went on your website, and it's I don't know the name of it, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you can post it on the screen. What is the name of your website?
ShopSamsAppliances.com. ShopSamsAppliance.com. Not appliances, SamsAppliance.com.
Sam's Appliance.
Yeah.
And on that website is a lot of your products.
Right.
And also pricing, so you can see the deals and the very sharp pricing, very competitive pricing that you can get through buying through Sam's here. And like Ed has said, I think the reason why you can do that is because of belonging to these buying groups and, you know, special deals that you can get. So I'm sure in a lot of cases you're buying as well as anybody else out there so that you can afford to sell it at a very competitive price.
Well, we are, and it's tough to keep up with the pricing on the website.
Oh, I see, yeah, yeah.
But the prices of appliances change quite a bit, not because the price necessarily went up, but because maybe the manufacturer wants to drive business towards a certain appliance or what have you. I really can't figure it out, to be honest with you. But we have this thing where we know all our inventory. It's called the retail deck. And on the retail deck, we have a column that's called the competition. And so we can click on that and we can see what Lowe's and Home Depot and Sears and Best
So if
Buy
they're
and
having a
what they're
promotion,
selling
you
it
can,
for.
yeah.
Right.
And it's real time?
It's real time.
Yeah, oh, that's
It's
great.
updated every day.
Yeah.
But what happens is the manufacturers know that, okay, Lowe's is going to have a deal on this particular appliance. So the manufacturers take their bucket of money to our buyer at our buying group and throw it at this piece too. So what I'm trying to get at is that if they got it on sale, we can give them the same price.
Yeah. Right.
You know, we can give them the same price, and I know people much prefer to come here and buy it than go to one of those big places and buy it. You know, because it's amazing how many people come here and like to do business with you.
Right.
They, you know what I mean?
Well, I love the quote that you have in your website, and it says, most people like to buy from someone they know and trust. And to me, that is, I feel the same way. I mean, being in business and, you know, being in Norwood too and having a business, that's the main reason. You know, you might be a little bit higher or a little bit lower on this, but, you know, if people trust you and they're going to get the right thing and they're going to be able to call, you know, you, Ed, they know you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you're calling some 1-800 number.
Oh,
And that you know that they're going to have it taken care of, and that's where the trust factor comes in. That's a huge thing, and that's what I think. You know, I don't know. You know, everybody buying from the web and all of these things. It's crazy because I know it's probably a little bit cheaper, but you just don't get the service so that you know you can keep something in good shape because they can come. You're going to service it for them or install it for them, right?
Yeah. Well,
you know, and
there's a lot of people from Norwood that come in here and they like to support Norwood businesses. I mean, Norwood is really a town. Like I said, I'm from Walpole. You know, Walpole, Norwood. When I was a kid growing up. We won't hold that
against you.
When I was a kid growing up, Walpole, Norwood was a big rivalry. But now
right.
I think I have more. Well, I got a lot of friends in Walpole too through this business, but I probably have more friends in Norwood now. You know, but the people are very loyal to the town. You know, and they come here. I mean, and it's word of mouth. We advertise, we send out circulars, we're on the internet, we do everything that we can. We got a commercial on Norwood TV.
I saw it.
We do everything we can to get people to come here.
But bottom line.
But the biggest reason that they come here is they've been here before, or someone told them to come in here.
Right.
And now that it's starting to happen, we're doing service. We now have a couple of technicians out there doing service because we can't keep up with the service, and it's word of mouth. People say, "Oh, I'll go down to Sam's and get your service done by those guys down there. That you know they're good, they're friendly."
And I also wanted to mention that you know if you do need a part for something, you can also come down and they will either have it here or you can custom order it, get it within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Or
there's so many parts you can't possibly stock them all.
Oh gosh,
but we deal with two of the biggest parts suppliers in the country, and with the miracle of UPS and FedEx, pretty much any part that somebody would order, if they order it by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we can usually have it the next day by 12 o'clock.
So if you were a young man, I mean you're younger than me, but a younger man, would you consider going into this business not at your age, but at a younger age, going into this business?
Well, I got my 2 sons working here now, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they like it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it served me well. I know that.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely served me well.
And when you talk about it, the changes, there's always change, right? I mean, whether it's a new you've always had competitors,
Yeah.
you know, and you just have to understand what's changing out there in the industry and adapt to it instead of trying to stay the same. And, you know, because that's where
yeah, it's
some
constantly-
businesses trying to stay the way they are, but you have to get the new, you know, the computer system, get this, you know, all of this, keep up with the government reporting or whatever it is that, you know.
Yeah, it seems like I spend a lot more time now doing paperwork
Yes.
than I used to have
yeah,
to do.
exactly. Yeah.
You know, they say computers were going to make things easier,
Right.
but
The
I don't
paperless
know
society,
about that.
remember?
You know, I don't know about that. But I don't know. Basically, every day I get up and I come in here and
Mm-hmm. And you enjoy
just
it.
try and do the best I can.
Yeah.
You know, you
And
never know
know-
what's going to happen. You never know what
and
problem's going to arise.
You know that you're
or-
going to have problems. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a problem. No business is problem free. So
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, how do we solve this? You know, you mentioned the town of Norwood and how you love doing business here. I just want to. I know that you're involved in the community, and I don't know if you have any special things that you sponsor, but I know I see your name a lot around Norwood as helping out, so I'd just like to thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, I guess.
Well, you're here, and you know, people call. I'm sure you are there helping out. So
Well, we deal, you know, yeah, you'll
you're a humble guy, I know. So this is
I
hard
mean,
for you to
you'll
talk
support
about.
like the Norwood Gridiron
yeah.
Club
Oh,
or
yeah.
a few of the things,
That's what
the
it's all
South Norwood
about.
Fishing Derby or what have you. But
Right.
I don't know. We have a lot of, shall we say, older customers, and I like to think that we really do an awful lot for them. You know what I mean? I mean,
You go out of your way. Yeah.
right. People say, why'd you do that? Well, I don't know, because when I get that old, I want somebody to do that
Right.
for me, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like last week we had a lady, she couldn't get her TV on. You know, so what are you going to do? You're going to charge this lady $100 to go over and help her? Well, I go over to her house. The problem was when she was vacuuming, she had her TV plugged into a power strip. She flipped the switch.
Oh,
so I went over and flipped the switch for her.
And yeah.
And she said, well, what do I owe you? I said, nothing. You know,
Yeah.
I look around here and I said, it looks like Sam's.
Right.
You know.
But at another chain,
let me tell you the
Yeah.
story.
Sorry, jumping the gun here.
I get all the way back to the store and the phone's ringing. It's her again. My electric fireplace won't shut off.
Oh, no.
So I jump in the truck and go back over to her house and I shut off her fireplace for her. And but she's, you know, 85 years old or whatever, and she got nobody around to help her
Yeah.
or whatever. You know, I don't know. I mean, you have to, like I said, you have to like people and you have to run a business like.
You do. Family.
And if I deal with you, honestly, this is not baloney. The type of person that I am is, if I deal with you, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't want to just sell you something for the sake of selling you something. And you know,
You want to make their lives better, really, right?
and I think
You know?
I think I've done a pretty good job, because I can go out to dinner, whether I go to the Colonial House or the Colonial, or I go to 204 over in East Walpole, and I can go out and sit there and talk to people. I don't have to worry about anybody thinking that I don't know, treated them wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. It bothers me if someone's not happy. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah.
So.
I can tell that. Yeah. And it's not all about making money. It's about, you know, going home every day, like you said, and saying, you know, I made people happy today. And
Yeah, I mean, you have to make money. I'd be
obviously.
lying if I said I came here because I just love it.
No, yeah. You have to
But,
make money. But it's not all about the money. And that's kind of the problem, I think, with all these.
You try and make everything be as smooth as possible. And the way to make things be as smooth as possible is do it right.
Right.
That's all.
And you've got so much experience that you've seen all these problems or issues so many times that, you know, you know them before they happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just wanted to also mention about all of the other products that you have. You have this category kind of called appliances, but that encompasses like air conditioners, vacuums.
Vacuums, we don't do vacuums really.
Yeah.
Air conditioners, I kind of nicknamed myself Mr. AC. I feel like I'm pretty good. I know air conditioners. I know what size people need, and I know how to put them in. I used to put a lot of air conditioners in for the Norwood housing when they had the sliding windows before they had the sleeves, and I think I used to do a pretty good job. I'd put it in, it wouldn't leak, and it would look good in there instead of hanging out sideways or whatever. But,
so, and then stoves.
Stoves, yeah. I mean, ranges, we sell a lot of electric, a lot of gas ranges, and they're pretty reliable. That's probably the appliance that
Is your
needs the least amount of service and probably lasts the longest of anything.
Yeah, the stoves.
Yeah. And a product that we've been selling a slew of lately is a Speed Queen wash machine. It's an old-fashioned, I say it's your grandmother's wash machine. And the word of mouth is out about that. My buying group can't keep them in stock. We can't keep them in stock. You know, I mean, we're always chasing them down.
That's interesting. The grandmother's washing machine.
Yeah, because people, they like to save energy with the front-loading washer or the high-efficiency top-loading wash machine. I'm not saying that they don't work.
I am.
But you have to treat that machine right, you know, and you have to realize that this is new technology. So you have to load it properly, you have to use the proper amount of soap.
You can only
got to be careful with it. Yeah, if you put too much stuff in there, you're going to have problems.
It'll come unbalanced.
But we sell this Speed Queen, and the Speed Queen, it's an old-fashioned wash machine. It fills up with water, what level you want. It agitates, drains off, refills to rinse, drains, spins, and it's a machine that it's designed to last 25 years. I mean, across the street at the laundromat, they got a whole row of older ones, but they're basically the same machine. And I would say that's probably, even though it's old technology, the biggest new thing that we're selling here again, you know, because people are just coming in and wanting it. We sell it to one person, the word of mouth factor again, sell it to one person.
Then everybody tells everybody.
In comes the sister or the neighbor or whatever. And
well, you know, it's a big deal. I mean, women and men both do laundry, but a lot of my women friends will talk about, you know, if you're at a party or whatever, talk about their washing machines and their dryers, and they're like, oh, it takes so long and it shuts off, and you know, so I bet I can understand why the Speed Queens. Do they take more water, or?
They do use more water than because they fill up twice with water.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's different ways of looking at it. Do I want to save water, or do I want to buy something I'm going to have for 20 to 25 years, or do I want to buy something I'm going to have for 10 years?
So when they use the word energy efficient, they're...
energy efficiency is not what you talk about with Speed Queen. What you talk about with Speed Queen is durability and a good job of washing. And once again, I'm not saying that the new washing machines are bad. You just have to be much more careful with them. And, well, something had to give. I mean, when I started selling machines in the 1970s, we were selling wash machines for $3.99, and they're still selling wash machines for $3.99. So something had to give there in quality, you know. But the Speed Queen machine is not a $3.99 machine. It's a $700 and something machine.
Okay. Yeah,
because
I think it's interesting,
but they kept up with the
what's
quality.
Old is good.
They kept up with the quality. It's the heavy-duty workhorse.
Wow. So technology, how has that influenced your business? You know, with everything changing, I mean, do prices go down on appliances or up, or are they all over the board? You know, now products are coming from overseas more. Do you see any?
Well, you do sell, refrigerators have gone up in price quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they have a lot more features. You know, I mean, when in the 1970s we would have a couple of side-by-side refrigerators on the floor, and mostly top freezer refrigerators, and there wasn't a whole lot of variety. But now the big thing, you got these bottom freezer refrigerators with the ice and water through the door, and they're big.
So, yeah.
They're big, you know,
Yeah.
because, and everybody needs bigger. I mean, when I grew up in my parents' house, we had 4 kids in the house, and we had a 12 cubic foot refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody's got a 28 cubic foot refrigerator, and
Yeah.
there's 2 kids in the house.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe they don't go shopping as much, right? But
But the new refrigerators are really nice. You know,
Mhm.
people seem to really like the bottom freezer refrigerators, but they're more, you know, the things are more expensive. So you don't want to just, if it breaks, throw it away. So you
No.
want to get it repaired, and
yeah.
I
And
think
that was one of the questions that we talked about a little before we went on air is when do you know that you need to buy a new appliance? Like, I have a refrigerator that's probably 20 years old, but it still looks good and it seems to do a good job for me. But I don't know if what I'm comparing it to.
yeah.
So,
I mean, I would say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it's, I mean, it's that old, if it starts to give you an indication it's leaking water or it's
Okay.
making funny noises,
you
I
know
think
it's
you're gonna,
coming.
something's
Like a
coming.
car, right?
It's something's coming. You should start thinking about buying a new one.
Right. And should you always get the warranty? Well, some of the warranties and guarantees come from the manufacturer.
Right.
Is that all you need, or should you get extra insurance or whatever you call that through you, or?
That's up to the individual. Everything comes with a 1-year guarantee. Your Speed Queen stuff does come with either a 3-year or a 5-year, depending on what you buy. Because, like I said, they know they're more durable. My philosophy really is with these appliances that for the most part, if you treat your appliance right, it'll treat you right. But
So you mean you have to read
that's
the
hard to do.
instruction manual?
Yeah, you have to read your instruction manual. You have to use the right type of soap. You can't be slamming the door and breaking things and what have you.
Yeah.
Put it this way, if you buy a service contract and something happens and your appliance is 4 years old, you sure are glad you've got it. Okay? A lot of people will buy it and they never need it. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. I didn't need any service too, you know. And basically, if you buy a service contract, it's kind of like paying for your first service call. So
Yeah. So,
I don't push them on people, but I don't think they're a bad idea.
yeah.
So.
Okay. Good. Well, what else? What else do you want to tell us about
What
your
else?
business here that we haven't talked about?
Well,
I
we
know.
still sell furniture.
Oh, furniture we didn't
yeah.
talk about. Right.
And we've still got 2 companies that we deal with, that we've been dealing with for probably 30 years. One of them is a recliner company. They're called Ort Recliners. People say, I never heard of them. But they're an Amish company from Ohio that we've been dealing with, and they make a nice chair. They make a nice
I was
chair.
sitting in one over there.
They've
It's
got little
so
chairs if people
comfortable.
want little ones. They got big chairs if you want big ones. You can come in. Some of it's all custom made. So people will buy it right off the floor. But if you want to come in and pick out a chair that's in the fabric that you want, it takes probably a month and a half,
Oh, that's
because
not
they
bad.
build it to order.
Yeah. And there's also sofas as
Yeah,
well as
but,
chairs.
Well, that's another company I was going to
Okay.
tell you about. But the Ort company, like I said, I mean, I have a couple of their recliners at home myself, but I probably had them for 12 or 13 years, and they're still, they hold up. They're nice. They're nice chairs. And then we deal with a company from North Carolina called Lancer. Once again, people haven't heard of them, but people who have bought them here will come back and buy another sofa from the company again because they hold up. Once again, they're custom made. They can come in, they pick out their fabric, they order the sofa, it comes in, we deliver it. I mean, we've got small sofas, we've got big sofas, whatever,
Whatever you need,
size
right?
they want. Chairs,
They're also
love seats.
recliners, right?
Well, Lancer is more just straight sofas,
Okay.
not recliners. Our recliners, like I said, come from the Ort
Oh,
company.
I see. Okay.
But people come in and like them too because they sit on it and they don't sink down into it so deep that they can't get out of it, you know. And then we sell a lot of mattresses. We sell 2 different lines. We sell a line called Therapeutic. We've been dealing with them for probably 20 years, and they're made over in Brockton. They've been a pretty nice mattress.
USA product.
Yeah, a
Yay.
pretty nice mattress for not spending a whole lot of money. And then we used to sell a brand called King Coil, and I had a lot of problems with it, so I kind of weeded it out. And through recommendations of other friends of mine in the business, we took on a line called Gold Bond.
Okay.
And they're mattresses made in Connecticut that, not ultra expensive, but a real good quality mattress, and they're upholstered on both sides. Most of your mattresses today, you only
Just
sleep on one
so you
side.
can't turn them
But
over.
the Gold Bond mattress, you can turn it over, you can turn it around, and since we took them on, we've probably been selling them for about 5 years now. I can't think of a complaint that we've had.
And it's
Whereas the King Coil, everybody was saying, my mattress has a hole in it. And
what's the name of the new one that you were just
Gold Bond.
Gold Bond.
Yeah, they're
Like the powder.
it's not the same. It's not the foot powder, but yeah, a lot of people think I thought that was foot powder. But no, they've been a real good thing for us, and
And so how do you keep up with what's new in your all of these product lines through this
well, with
group?
the appliances, we just came back down at Foxwoods. We had a convention, and at the convention, all the manufacturers have out their new things and whatever.
okay,
So
yeah.
you go around and get to see all that. And then there's various trade journals. Plus, our appliance group has meetings every other month.
Okay.
You go to a meeting and you're discussing things with all the other members and what have you. So we definitely keep up to date on
Yeah.
that. Furniture's a little bit more difficult. I mean, a lot of the smaller stores, like if we only sold furniture, we'd have problems.
Yeah.
And a lot of your little furniture stores have gone out of business.
Right.
There used to be a show out in Fitchburg that they would have, and people from all over New England would be packed. Packed, you know, they'd be there for 3 or 4 days at this place showing all the new stuff, and
Yeah.
it's gone. They don't have that show anymore because there's
So
not,
you've
there's
got
not enough
people-
people to support it.
Yeah, because
You know.
there's the big places now, I guess, right?
Well, a lot of people run out. You know, there's so much advertising done by Bob's and
Oh, yeah.
Jordans and Bernie and Phil's, and
That's what people know.
but and I'm not saying those places are bad, but I think people are finding out that, you know what, if I went down and dealt with Sam's, you know, I got a pretty good value down there. You
Yeah.
know, I'm happy with it.
And that's why-
you know,
that's
I
why-
like to think
yeah.
that what we do is if you've got a problem, we can solve your problem. That's kind of the way I look at this
Yeah.
business. You know, I got a problem today. I need a new mattress. Well, you can go to 100 different places and buy a mattress. But you can come here, and I mean, I'm going to recommend,
Yeah,
you know, what I think is the best mattress that I can sell
For your
you for that
situation.
much money.
right.
You know, and if you don't mind spending this much money, I can sell you this mattress here, okay? And the same thing with a recliner. I need a recliner. Well, hey, I can get one. I can solve your problem. I can bring that recliner over to you today, and I can get rid of your old one, and your problem's solved.
And everybody
Yeah.
has a different issues, right? So it's not like just one, sofa that's going to fit everybody. So,
Right.
You know, and you listen
But
to people.
like I said, I like to think that I can solve your problem. I know myself. If I need something, I got a problem here. Let's see, how am I going to do this?
Yeah,
And I just go someplace and get what I need, and I'm done with it. You
Right.
know, and well, we're right here in Norwood. You don't have to travel all over the world. I don't think you're going to get gouged for the price or
no.
anything.
And it's, very good quality. And like Ed says, all these products last.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that we're selling here is something that you're buying not just to have for 6 months.
And you've got all the top brands here, it sounds like, too.
Oh yeah, like we have
Bosch
Weber
and-
grills.
yeah.
We sell Electrolux, General Electric, Frigidaire. Frigidaire is a big seller for us nowadays. We have Samsung. We have LG.
Yeah. They have everything,
We do.
almost.
And if we don't have it, like I said, it's in the warehouse. I mean, some people come in, lots of things. People come in, they've seen it. I don't want that particular one. I want this. Okay, well, no problem. I can click. And like I said, I get the deck. I can look and see, well, it's on sale today at this particular store. I can sell it to you for this price.
Yeah. And that's why people,
buy it. And you can have it tomorrow.
It's not just from Norwood that you get your customers, it's from all over, the towns all around
Oh yeah, it's
Norwood.
amazing how
So,
many towns we deliver things to.
my brother-in-law lives in Needham, and
Oh yeah, we
he
do a lot of
loves
business in Needham.
coming here to see Ed. And he wouldn't go anyplace else for whatever he wants in terms of appliances. We didn't talk about TVs. What's happening in that whole market?
Television is a crazy business. You have the flat panel LED or LCD TVs today that when they first came out, you were paying a fortune for them, and now they've come down to, they're really low priced, you know. I mean, you can buy a 32-inch TV for under $300.
Same prices they were paying back in the day.
Right, and you get a color that's a beautiful, sharp picture.
Right, 3D, 4D. Yeah. I don't know what they're up to now, but so if somebody comes in here and they just need a TV and they don't know a lot about it, you could help them by asking certain questions.
Yeah, my son John is a little bit more up on the new technology of television than I am, so he's probably more the person to talk to.
And then do you
But the thing is, we also have a lot of people that come in and they don't know how to turn it on, they don't know how to do anything.
Right.
Well, that's where we come into play with televisions. You know, you can buy your TV here, and John, like I said, my son, he knows what he's doing with these things. He can bring it to your house and hitch it up to your cable and hook up your whatever, and you're ready to go.
That's great.
And then they're pretty much trouble-free, these TVs. I mean, there's really nobody fixing TVs anymore.
No, the repairman's gone.
But for the most part, you'll buy a TV today, and you're probably not going to have a problem for 10 years or so anyways, you know. And like I said, they're not so expensive that you're going to worry about trying to fix it. I mean, there are some things where we don't really sell a lot of the... We can get them. There are 80-inch televisions, and those are big money.
But so they last a long time, but the driving force in terms of sales must be all the new technology that they keep putting into the TV. So people always tend to want to know.
Now they have these smart TVs, so you can actually hitch it to your internet. And
they have those now.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. The picture is incredible on these new TVs. You know, the high definition. But everybody's got different needs. Myself, you know, I just want a TV that I can turn it on and watch, and other people go, you know, they want to do 1,000,001 things. They want to have a home theater and what have you.
Yep, to go along with their smart home.
Right.
So, and are the TVs on display here, or?
We have a few of them over.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, what about the future of Sam's? Where do you see yourself and your sons? Do you think about that, or do you just kind of every day come in and enjoy the day and say, that was a good day?
You're always thinking about the future.
Yeah.
You know, I started here as a young kid. Now I'm getting to be an old man.
Oh,
So, I mean, I can see myself backing off a little bit.
Well, you're lucky, so lucky to have your sons
being here more, but it's hard to get away from, you know, because you got to keep the store manned, and there's more and more demands every day of the things that you have to do for people and what have you. But yeah, I think Sam's is going to be here a long time, but hopefully I'm only going to be here to help out as opposed to being the main straw that stirs the drink. So.
Well, I'm sure Sam's is going to be here a lot longer based upon the success that it's had since 1933. And we look forward to coming here for many more years. So thank you for all of the information that you gave to us today. And until next time, let's talk business.